This is my finished Photoshop project for my integrated media production class. I had a really fun time creating this project. I'm really familiar with Photoshop, so that's probably why I had a lot more fun than the audition project. I wasn't scrambling around and looking up tutorials as I went. I could just begin working, and I already had prior knowledge to apply. It was really fun. It worked out. I didn't have a plan when I started, which I think helped me just sort of stream of consciousness work and use my imagination and let it run wild. It was really fun. So I'm gonna turn off these layers and sort of show you how this came together. So we're just gonna take all these out and we'll put them back in a little bit later. So the background image is that strange mural. I actually took that photo myself. I took it of it's a wall mural here in Cincinnati. It's near Findlay Market. You can go see yourself. And I used the quick selection tool. I took it on out and I duplicated it. I flipped it horizontally and I flipped it vertically. And there you go. I put it on the background. That's where I started. Didn't even have B3ZA. Nothing. This is how I started. That was it. Quick selection tool over here. Did a little bit of the transform tool, flip horizontal, flip vertical, Command T, all that good stuff. Next came B3ZA, cut her out. Took me a while to fix her afro because the quick selection tool is ruthless when it comes to black hair, which makes sense. B3ZA came next, and then we started putting in African violets. I put in African violets because I love African violets. I love that they have purple flowers, and I love their glossy green leaves. And so I started putting them in, and I decided that I wanted to make this sort of a mirror image of itself. So we have B3ZA is not symmetrical, and the background is not symmetrical either, but everything else sort of is, and that's how I wanted it to be. So we have just all of these things down here. We have multiple layers, just plenty of beautiful flowers surrounding her, and she just looks like she was born to be in amongst the flowers, which is true. I believe that is just a true statement. So here she is, and next came the sunflowers. We have ones behind her head. I chose the yellow flower amongst the green and the purple because I wanted there to be a dynamic contrast, first of all. And I wanted it to look like she had a crown around her head. So I had this, what came next. So here we go. We got the African violets down here in the foreground, sort of at the bottom. Next, halo. Sunflowers worked out. I got a few different varieties. This one with the nice burgundy, this classic sunflower. And so I put them behind her head. And then I was like, I mean, it needs something else. It needs something more radiant. And so I got the most radiant thing I could possibly get, which is the Incan sun. I just put it behind her. It just makes her look so majestic. Looks like she has a full-on halo, which is exactly what I wanted. Next, I put a few other sunflowers. I just loved these ones because they're painted and they're not an actual photo. So the juxtaposition of the different mediums, we have these pixelated photos that are like old from like a horticulture textbook or something down here. They're sort of like old granny flowers, which I love. And then we have these beautiful, bright, vibrant sunflowers of different varieties here. They're all different looking photos. This one was actually shot on a black background, so it was super well exposed and it was super, super easy for me to cut out with the quick selection tool. Some of these other ones were not, so this one doesn't have as great of exposure, and this one's just not as good of an image, but they all come together in an interesting way, just sort of like in a mishmash. This is a digital file. He's not an actual photo, clearly, and I just love it. It has like a rich, deep yellow color, which complements the sunflowers really well. And then we have these guys up here, which I made symmetrical as well. So we're halo, all of these flowers down here, these up here, those are all symmetrical. And then I needed something else, and I was like, okay, well, there's flowers, there's nature, there's a strange mural behind her, so I decided to throw in a bunch of very vivid birds. Just put them all over the place. We have this man's, just little dudes everywhere. So the guys hanging out on the African violets, I put them, and the sunflowers up here. We have the hummingbirds on the sunflowers and the finches and the African violets. I chose to make them symmetrical, and then I threw a few birds on her shoulder. And because she is not a symmetrical aspect of this, I decided to not let the birds be either and just sort of let my creative juices flow in that manner of speaking. And so that's what it looks like all together. So we have some birds on our shoulders just chilling. She is not symmetrical. Neither is the background. Neither are the birds right here. And I love that about it because this is an organized sort of chaos. And then there's her, and she just exists among it. And she looks really beautiful. And this just speaks volumes to who she is as a person. She's extremely vibrant. She's a great person to be around. Flowers and birds and bright colors, they all describe her as a person. And I just really, I love this project. I'm extremely proud of it. And I had a lot of fun creating it.